The Business Review brings you top financial news developments, influencing financial markets, international currencies, commodities, global commerce, tourism, and other economic events from around the globe.
Chief Executive of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, Carrie Lam, discussed plans with relevant ministries and commissions of the central government to help revive Hong Kong's coronavirus-battered economy during a visit to Beijing. Speaking to reporters, Lam said she discussed the work on COVID-19 epidemic prevention and control and economic relief measures for Hong Kong, and the central government has endorsed her proposals and promised to continue to support Hong Kong. Lam said that since she took office as chief executive, she's been calling on various ministries and commissions in the central government in China to get more support for Hong Kong and various aspects of the economy. She added during the visit, the Hong Kong delegation that she leads has discussed the plan of the government with the Ministry of Commerce, National Development and Reform Commission, Ministry of Science and Technology, Civil Aviation Administration, the Securities Regulatory Commission and the Health Commission how to support Hong Kong further. Lam said the 14th five-year plan from up till 2025 and the long-term development goals through to 2035 announced by central authorities both spelled out continued support for Hong Kong and enhancing its competitive advantage and developing its innovative technologies. According to Lam, the central government in China will continue to support Hong Kong's fight against the pandemic, and Hong Kong will continue to strengthen epidemic prevention, especially to prevent imports of cases.
The Secretary General of Global Tourism Economy Forum, Pan Si-ho, said that the success of the tourism industry depends on collaboration among countries. Considered a legendary figure in Macau's tourism development, Pan Si-ho made these remarks on a TV forum themed as Vision for China-Japan ROK Trilateral Trade with China Global Television Network. In the interview, Pan Si talked about the regional cooperation between China, Japan and South Korea in the tourism industry. She not only reviewed the past close partnerships among the three countries in tourism with statistics, but also pointed to the importance of combining both the private sector and the government sector in developing the industry. She then emphasized that the success in tourism of the three countries relies on cooperation and expected better and more collaboration in the future. Ho affirmed that tourism is an interesting industry where the success depends on one another and where there are no true competitors, but only partners.
The French President Emmanuel Macron has sensed an opportunity to market France as Europe's next business destination after the coronavirus crisis and embarked on a charm offensive with international investors. He organized a conference call on November the 6th with the chief executives of Tata, Unilever, Coca-Cola and Zalando, among others, to seek to secure new investment, the virtual version of the Choose France summits that he has held before Davos gatherings in the past. Paris has mobilized more than 470 billion euros in tax breaks, state-subsidized furloughs and business loan guarantees to contain the crisis, and unveiled a two-year £100 billion plan to cut business taxes and investment in renewable energy projects. Macron expressed commitment to a strategy based on attractiveness and modernization, with reforms launched 3 years ago. Despite France and much of Europe being in the midst of the pandemic, and the second wave of it at that, Macron is betting that investors will prefer the upside risk of his €100 billion recovery package to Brexit Britain or stable Germany. Asked about the timing of the sales pitch and resurgence of the pandemic in France, which was forced to declare a second lockdown last month, Macron's advisor said investors were looking past the second wave and deciding now which countries would be long-term post-coronavirus winners. The French economy rebounded 16% in the third quarter, following an unprecedented 13.8% slump in the second quarter after the country was put under one of the strictest lockdowns in Europe. The second lockdown is likely to tip the country back into contraction territory in the final quarter of 2020.
US employers hired the fewest workers in 5 months in October, offering the clearest evidence yet that the end of fiscal stimulus and exploding new COVID-19 infections were sapping momentum from the economic recovery, but the jobless rate fell as well. Hiring in the United States fell to a 5-month low in October, in the clearest sign yet of an economic rebound that's losing strength. According to closely watched employment report, 638,000 new jobs were created last month, while more than 10 million jobs are yet to come back since the health crisis took a whack at the labor market earlier in the year. Employers have slowed down on their hiring in recent months as extra financial stimulus from the government dried up, and with the health crisis now flaring up again, the US this week set a new daily record on infections, and there's little chance of another fiscal stimulus package coming out of Washington this year, after the presidential vote that puts focus on the Federal Reserve, which months ago pushed interest rates to near zero and have kept them there since. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell acknowledged the rebound was losing strength and pledged to do more and called on Congress to do the same. But the recovery hasn't lost all of its momentum. The unemployment rate fell to 6.9% in October from 7.9% the month before, as some of the tens of millions of Americans who were out of work started looking for a job again and found one. It is now the task of whoever wins the battle for the White House to figure out how to put even more people back to work.
A total of 29 exhibitors signed a collective contract in Shanghai with the 4th China International Import Expo to be held next year. According to the Bureau, the 29 exhibitors include L'Oreal, Michelin, and a milk powder company called Yashili. The commercial exhibitions of enterprises, which is an important part, will continue the layout of 6 major exhibition areas covering service, trade, mobile, technical equipment, consumer goods, medical and health and fitness devices, as well as food and agriculture. At the same time, it will tap the potential of the frontier technologies and products, as well as products concerning people's livelihood and consumption promotion. Yashili Lu Minfang, the board chairman of the Yashili Group, said that the show platform has stimulated the development of overseas enterprising, noting that all overseas enterprises have achieved good profits. The tax exemption policy approved during the 3rd Expo will be more widely implemented in the 4th one, when enterprises may enjoy preferential tax policies after the transition of exhibits meet the tax-free list requirements.
China's financial sector conceded around 1.25 trillion yuan worth of interest to the country's real economy through cuts in interest rates and other methods by the end of October this year. According to the latest data released at a press conference by the State Council Information Office, in the first 10 months, China's financial institutions stepped up targeted measures including financial tools of deferment of principal and interest payments by small, medium-sized and micro businesses, an extension of inclusive credit loans to micro and small businesses, reducing fees and supporting enterprises in restructuring and debt to equity, swaps to facilitate fundraising for micro and small businesses, and reduce their comprehensive financing costs to boost recovery of the real economy in the fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. Louis Guoqiang, Vice Governor of the People's Bank of China, at the press conference said that according to the data provided by the People's Bank of China and the China Insurance Regulatory Commission, the financial institutions are expected to reach the target of conceding 1.5 trillion yuan worth of interest to the real economy by the end of the year. Louis said at the press conference that since the beginning of 2020, the BPC and the CIRC, together with other competent authorities, have earnestly implemented the relevant decisions and arrangements of the Communist Party of China Central Committee and the State Council, guided and urged financial institutions to step up efforts and extend effective support for development of the real economy. In general, all measures have produced remarkable results that the quality and efficiency of financial services for the real economy have continued to improve and monetary credit has been growing properly, Louis said.
This brings us to the end of this episode of the Business Review. We hope to see you again tomorrow with news of stock markets, economic conferences, commodities, currencies, regional and international financial news, and much more.